Namaste and welcome to the AI Samachar.
Huh.
Today is 19th January 2025.
Oh, wow.
Buckle up because we're diving deep into a collection of news stories today.
Okay.
They're as diverse as India itself.
Right.
Everything from cultural festivals
Right.
to international relations
Okay.
and even a bit of Bollywood drama.
Fascinating. It really is amazing to see how all these different areas of life,
Right.
actually all connect and paint a bigger picture
Yeah.
of what's happening in the world.
Let's kick things off with something close to home.
All right.
A major literary festival just wrapped up in Chennai. Anything in particular catch your eye?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
The inaugural address by Abraham Verghese,
Okay.
the physician author,
Right.
really stood out.
Oh, really?
He talked about
Yeah.
how writing is actually a pretty recent invention in human history.
Wow. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah. We've been around for a really long time,
Right.
millennia, but written language is relatively new.
So if you think about it, picking up a book
Yeah.
is tapping into this incredible power that humans developed.
Mm-hmm.
This ability to communicate across time and space.
Exactly.
Right.
Verghese actually called books
Oh, God.
instructions for living,
Oh, I love that.
almost like guides
Oh.
to navigating the human experience.
It's like each book is a chance to learn from someone else's journey,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
their mistakes,
Yeah.
their triumphs.
I
You're
think
not just reading words.
Right.
You're absorbing like a whole lifetime of experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? The festival had some lighter moments, too.
Okay.
Author and MP Shashi Tharoor
Okay.
gave a talk
Okay.
on etymology, the history of words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and even shared some funny stories about
Oh,
dealing with internet trolls.
gosh. Who hasn't had to deal with
I know.
a troll or two online?
Right.
It's almost a rite of passage these days.
It's a modern day.
I know. Another session that caught my eye was about a book that explores the history and global influence of the Tamil community.
Really?
Yeah. It traces their journey
Wow.
from ancient times to the present, highlighting their contributions to all sorts of fields.
Oh, wow.
Everything from literature and art
Yeah.
to science and technology.
That's fascinating.
And get this,
But.
it even delves into the origin of sambar,
Oh, really?
that iconic South Indian dish. Apparently,
Yeah.
it originated in the kitchens
No way.
of the Maratha kingdom.
Mhm.
Who knew a simple dish could have such a royal history?
It's true. Food really is so much more
Yeah.
than just, keeping us alive. It's
Yeah.
culture. It's
Right.
history. It's a story on a plate.
Absolutely.
Speaking of stories.
Yes?
Let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And look at what's happening on the international stage.
All right.
The Israel-Hamas ceasefire
Okay.
is making headlines. What's your take on this?
Well, it seems like a really sudden shift after
Yeah.
months of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
What factors do you think led to this agreement?
Well, the agreement itself suggests a careful balance of concessions.
Yeah.
It's a three-phase agreement.
Right.
Israel might feel that they're in a stronger regional position now, especially after changes in the political landscape in Syria.
So the power dynamics in the Middle East have shifted,
Exactly.
giving Israel more leverage.
Precisely.
Okay.
And you know what else?
Oh.
The return of Donald Trump to the White House
Okay.
could also be a factor.
Right.
Trump has historically been a really strong supporter of Israel
Mm-hmm.
and has even talked about bringing peace to the Middle East.
So this ceasefire could be a step towards that.
Yeah.
But the big question is,
Yeah.
will it hold?
Mm.
What does this mean for global stability?
It's really too early to say for sure.
Right.
The ceasefire is a really positive sign,
Yeah.
but the root causes of the conflict are still complex. Achieving lasting peace is going to require a lot of work from all sides.
It's a reminder that international relations are this delicate balancing act.
It's true.
And speaking of tensions,
Mm-hmm.
India's external affairs minister
Yes.
made some pretty strong statements
Ooh.
about Pakistan recently.
Yeah.
He compared Pakistan's support of cross-border terrorism
Wow.
to a cancer,
Hmm.
which is a pretty bold statement.
It is.
It definitely reflects, the frustration
Yeah.
and concern that many feel
Mm-hmm.
about the ongoing cross-border tensions.
Yeah.
Now let's bring it back home
Okay.
with some crime and justice stories.
All right.
The entertainment world's been buzzing about
Yeah.
that knife attack
Oh.
on Bollywood actor Saif Ali Khan.
It's okay.
Thankfully, the suspect was caught pretty quickly
Oh, good.
in another state,
Wow.
thanks to cooperation between police forces.
That's great to hear.
It's a relief they caught him so quickly.
Yeah.
And in another case involving law enforcement,
Yeah.
8 policemen were convicted for the custodial death of a man accused of a horrific crime.
Oh, wow.
This case goes back to 2017.
Okay.
And underscores the importance of accountability within the police force. Custodial deaths are a serious issue. And this conviction sends a strong message.
It does.
It's a reminder that justice needs to be served at all levels.
Absolutely.
And speaking of chilling cases, a convicted serial killer who was out on parole was just arrested in Delhi.
Oh, no.
And this is the same killer featured in that Netflix documentary.
Oh, wow.
Indian Predator, the Butcher of Delhi. Just imagine watching a documentary about someone.
Yeah.
And then they end up back on the streets.
Yeah, that's got to be unsettling.
It adds a whole other dimension to the case.
Yeah, it does.
Now let's look at a conflict that hits closer to home.
Okay.
For many. The clash between Indian and Bangladeshi farmers at the border. It seems the clash was sparked by accusations of crop theft.
Right.
And things quickly escalated. It's a reminder that even something as basic as farming can become a point of tension when borders are involved.
It's true.
And it's easy to get caught up in the political side of things. But at the heart of this are people just trying to make a living.
Right.
And these conflicts disrupt their lives and livelihoods.
Yeah.
It's a complex issue with no easy solutions.
It really is.
Back at the Chennai Literary Festival.
Okay.
Activist Sunitha Krishnan gave a really powerful talk about sex trafficking. She's been a tireless advocate for victims for years. It's an issue that deserves more attention. What was the focus of her talk?
She really emphasized the need for everyone to get involved in combating this crime.
Right.
It's not just a law enforcement issue.
Right.
It's a societal problem that requires a collective effort.
She's right. We all have a role to play in protecting the vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Now let's turn to some environmental news.
Okay.
There's been a lot of controversy surrounding the plan to dispose of the hazardous waste from the 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy. It's a really sensitive issue given the magnitude of that disaster.
Right.
The current plan is to incinerate the waste.
Okay.
But locals are protesting, fearing the environmental impact.
So on one hand, you have this urgent need to deal with this hazardous material.
Yeah.
But on the other, you have legitimate concerns from the community.
It's like, how do you even begin to navigate a situation like that?
It really requires a careful consideration of the science, the risks, and the community's concerns. There are no easy answers when it comes to environmental decision-making.
It's a reminder that we need to be mindful of the long-term consequences of our actions.
Absolutely.
Now, for some good news.
Okay.
A recent faunal survey in Kerala uncovered 24 new species. It's exciting to see that there are still parts of the world where we're discovering new life.
It's amazing.
This survey added birds, butterflies, even a few odomates to the region's biodiversity list.
That's amazing.
It's a testament to the incredible diversity of the Western Ghats and a reminder that we need to protect these ecosystems.
Yes.
Not just for the known species.
Right.
But for the ones we haven't even discovered yet.
Absolutely. Each species plays a role in that delicate balance of nature.
Now let's shift gears to something that affects all of us.
Right.
Business and the economy.
Okay.
The Employees Provident Fund Organization has simplified the process for correcting personal details.
Oh, okay.
That's a huge win.
Yeah.
For anyone who has struggled with bureaucratic processes.
Tell me about it.
What does this mean for the average person?
It means fewer headaches.
Okay.
When trying to manage your EPF account. You can actually correct common errors yourself now without having to jump through hoops. It's a small change, but a big time saver.
I love when bureaucracy gets a little less bureaucratic.
Exactly.
Now, on a larger scale, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has been talking about India's ambition to become a global leader in automobile manufacturing.
Yeah, it's an ambitious goal. But India has a lot going for it. A growing middle class, a young workforce, and a real drive to innovate.
So it's not just about making cars.
No.
It's about creating this whole ecosystem of manufacturing, technology, and jobs.
Absolutely.
And speaking of innovation, Vietnam's VinFast is entering the Indian market with 2 electric SUVs.
Wow.
It's a sign that the EV revolution is going global.
Yeah, it really is.
It would be interesting to see how VinFast competes with existing players in India. The EV market here is still young, but it's growing really fast.
It is.
And it's not just about the cars themselves, right?
No.
It's about building the infrastructure to support EVs.
Exactly.
Charging stations, battery technology,
shebang.
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Speaking of challenges, there's a village in Maharashtra that's been protesting for years.
Oh, wow.
Against a nearby quarry.
Okay.
That's causing environmental damage.
It's a classic example of the tension between economic development and environmental protection.
Yeah.
On one hand, you have jobs and revenue, but on the other, you have the health of the community and the ecosystem.
It's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it seems like the quarry is still operating despite court orders and penalties.
Really?
It makes you wonder who's really benefiting from this development and at what cost?
Yeah. It raises those important questions about accountability.
And the long-term consequences of our choices.
Speaking of consequences, the Israel-Hamas ceasefire is a fragile step towards peace.
Yeah.
In a region that's been plagued by conflict for decades.
A long time.
It's a glimmer of hope, but as you mentioned earlier, the underlying issues are still very complex.
They are.
What are the chances that this ceasefire will actually hold?
It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Both sides have agreed to a phased release of hostages.
Okay.
And the easing of restrictions on Gaza, but distrust runs deep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wait-and-see situation.
It is.
In the meantime, let's celebrate a story of incredible compassion.
Okay.
A family in Hyderabad donated the organs of their brain-dead loved one.
Wow.
Saving multiple lives.
That's incredible.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the face of tragedy, there's the potential for healing and hope.
Absolutely.
And speaking of powerful tradition, the festival of Pongal in Tamil Nadu
was marked by the spectacle of Jallikattu, that ancient bull taming event. Jallikattu is so deeply ingrained in Tamil culture.
Yeah, it is.
But it's also been controversial because of concerns about animal cruelty. Where do you stand on this?
You know, it's such a complex issue. On one hand, you have this tradition that's been practiced for centuries, and on the other, you have legitimate concerns about animal welfare. Finding a way to balance tradition and ethics is always a challenge.
It's a reminder that cultures are constantly evolving. And sometimes that evolution involves having those difficult conversations and making tough choices.
It does.
Now let's get back to something a little less contentious.
Okay.
The EPFO has simplified the process for correcting personal details, which is a big win for anyone who's ever battled with bureaucracy.
Yeah, it is.
It's a great example of how technology can be used to make life easier and more efficient.
Absolutely.
Speaking of efficiency, India's declining fertility rate has been making headlines. It seems like a really complex issue with a mix of social, economic, and cultural factors all playing a role.
Exactly.
So we're talking about a shrinking population. What does that mean for India's future?
Well, it's a significant trend.
Yeah.
That could have implications for everything.
Right.
From the economy to social welfare programs to political representation.
So it's not just about individual families.
No, it's not.
It's about the fabric of society as a whole.
Precisely.
And it's not a problem with a simple solution.
No.
It requires a really nuanced understanding of the factors driving this trend.
Right.
And a willingness to adapt policies and programs to address the challenges ahead.
Absolutely.
Speaking of adapting, a group of farmers in Kerala successfully resisted the acquisition of their land for a major airport project.
Good for them.
It's a victory for those who believe that development shouldn't come at the expense of people's livelihoods and the environment.
It's true.
It shows that grassroots movements can have a real impact.
Yeah.
Especially when they're fighting for something they really believe in.
They can.
And it highlights the importance of listening to communities and considering the long-term consequences of development projects. So back to the topic of making things easier.
Okay.
Those doctors in Hyderabad who transported a donor heart in record time using the metro system.
Wow.
That's just amazing.
Talk about thinking outside the box.
Right.
It's a great example of innovation and collaboration.
Yeah.
And it ultimately saved a life.
It's inspiring to see what's possible
Yeah.
when people work together towards a common goal.
They can really achieve amazing things.
And speaking of inspiration, the NDRF is celebrating its 19th anniversary.
Wow.
2 decades of dedicated service to the nation.
From earthquakes and floods to industrial accidents and building collapses.
Right.
The NDRF is always there, ready to respond. Their training and expertise are truly remarkable.
They're the ones who run towards danger
Right.
when everyone else is running away.
Yeah.
It's a real testament to their courage and selflessness.
Yeah.
Speaking of running,
Okay.
the Indian men's and women's Kho teams
Yes.
are making us proud.
I love Kho.
They've both made it to the finals of the Kho World Cup,
Really?
and they'll be facing off against Nepal.
Wow.
It's exciting to see this traditional Indian sport gaining recognition on a global stage.
It really is.
It's like a perfect blend of heritage and progress, a sport with ancient roots that's now captivating audiences worldwide.
Exactly.
And speaking of navigating tradition and progress, the debate surrounding the BCCI's new guidelines for Indian cricketers is heating up. The restrictions on family stays and personal staff are intended to keep the team focused. But some players are worried about the impact on their work-life balance.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a tough call.
Yeah.
How do you strike the right balance
It is.
between individual needs and team performance?
It requires open communication and a willingness to compromise.
Communication is key,
It is.
whether you're talking about a cricket team or a nation.
It's true.
And speaking of national conversations,
Yeah.
the issue of declining fertility rates in India is one that needs to be addressed thoughtfully and comprehensively.
It's a multifaceted issue with far-reaching implications.
Yeah.
And it's one that we'll likely be discussing for years to come.
It's a reminder that even as we celebrate all this progress and innovation, there are these underlying challenges that require our attention.
Absolutely.
Speaking of progress,
Yeah.
those new species discovered in the Western Ghats, what a testament to the biodiversity of that region.
It's incredible to think that we're still discovering
New forms of life in this day and age.
That's amazing.
It really highlights the importance of conservation and protecting these delicate ecosystems.
Absolutely. And speaking of protecting what's important,
Yeah.
those farmers in Kerala who successfully resisted that land acquisition for that airport project, they've shown that communities can make a difference when they stand together.
It's a powerful reminder that development should be sustainable.
Yeah.
And consider the needs of all stakeholders.
Right.
Not just the economic interests.
And it's a testament to the power of perseverance. They protested for over 900 days.
Wow.
Speaking of perseverance,
Yeah.
the NDRF is celebrating its 19th anniversary. Almost 2 decades of dedicated service to the nation.
They're the unsung heroes who put their lives on the line to help others during disaster.
Earthquakes, floods, industrial accidents.
Right.
They deserve all the recognition they get and more.
They do. They embody the spirit of service and sacrifice.
Yeah.
And speaking of making a difference, those doctors in Hyderabad who used the metro system to transport that donor heart in record time.
Yeah.
What an incredible example of quick thinking and collaboration.
It's a testament to human ingenuity.
Yeah.
And the dedication of medical professionals. You know, they turned a potential obstacle into an opportunity.
Right.
And saved a life in the process.
It's inspiring to see what can be accomplished when people think outside the box.
Yeah.
And work together.
Absolutely.
Now, shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
Those Manipur police recruits who feel their state's issues aren't getting enough national attention.
Right.
It makes you think about whose voices are being heard and whose stories are being told.
It's a reminder that media representation matters. It shapes our understanding of the world and influences how we perceive different communities and regions.
It's a call for more inclusive and diverse storytelling, ensuring that all voices have a chance to be heard. And speaking of diverse voices, the Indian men's and women's Kho teams have made it to the World Cup finals.
So exciting.
It's exciting to see this traditional Indian sport gaining global recognition.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the talent and dedication of the athletes.
Right.
And a sign that Kho is reaching new heights.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful blend.
It is.
Of heritage and progress.
Now let's talk about those new BCCI guidelines for Indian cricketers. The restrictions on family stays and personal staff
Yeah.
are aimed at maintaining focus.
Right.
But some players are concerned
Yeah.
about the impact on their work-life balance.
It's a tough dilemma.
It is.
How do you balance the demands of professional sports with the need for personal space and time with loved ones?
It's a reminder that even in the pursuit of excellence,
Yeah.
we need to consider the well-being
Absolutely.
of individuals. And speaking of well-being,
Yeah.
the issue of declining fertility rates in India
Right.
is one that requires thoughtful attention.
It's a complex issue.
It is.
With potential implications for demographics, the economy, and social structures.
Yeah.
It's a conversation that needs to involve multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
And consider a range of solutions.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the news, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
Everything from the joys of literature and the thrill of sports to the complexities of geopolitics and the challenges of environmental protection.
It's a lot.
We've explored stories of resilience, innovation, and the power of community.
Absolutely.
And we've seen how seemingly disparate events are actually interconnected, weaving a tapestry of human experience.
Yeah.
That's both fascinating and thought-provoking.
It is.
We hope this has given you a deeper understanding of the world around us and sparked some interesting conversations.
Me too.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. For inquiries, advertisements, and queries, write to us at theisamachar@gmail.com.
Yo.
Namaste.
Namaste.